Cherry, do you care to comment?
You know, his religion is his business. But I say this, that I think that he will have a conflict. Because I think that he has to look at individual values when he's serving on the township committee. He cannot force his values upon other people. They still got to be free to act, accordingly. And I'm very disturbed in terms of Mr. Rogers, and his, involvement, from the religious standpoint. Not so much of what he believes in, because I believe in God myself. And I know that where my strength comes from. But the problem that I have, that letter that appeared in the Central Post, from a minister that I never met in my life. And really, it said Rogers' exception is disappointing. And as I read the letter, it was sad to see such a letter appearing from a person I've never seen, never talked with in my life. I appeared before the same board, same clerical board, and I told them the truth.
Thank you, Mr. Cherry. We will be moving to our next question from Ms. Livio, please.
Mr. Cherry, judging from the overwhelming turnout at many planning board meetings, residents are conveying a clear message of concern for the township's dwindling open space. Why should voters believe that you will speak out on their behalf when you have voted in favor of Friendship Village, a high-density development in one of the town's more rural areas?
See, so you have to be educated on planning and development. We have planning board members here, and they'll tell you that the township committee does not vote on development. We can vote on the zoning, and that's a fact. And I think you and Mr. Rogers need to go back and talk to Mr. Sparrow. He out here in the audience. He could tell you that I'm absolutely on mark. I am committed to providing affordable housing for our young people, our sons and daughters, so that they can work near and live at home. I am committed to take care of our senior citizens when they are unable to take care of themselves, and medical treatment that they can receive in these country care. And if I have to be voted down because I am supporting a cause that is crucial today than ever before in helping people in life, then I have to stand, in judgment. But I want to assure you that you can check the record and go back and check with the attorney, the planning board attorney. The responsibility of a development on a zone, in a zoning area, is a responsibility of the planning board. And that's where Mr. Rogers and I are completely different, because he doesn't know, what he's talking about when he said that I voted for this great massive development. They could put 1,000 houses, as far as I'm concerned, if the planning board do that. That's their mistake. I would never vote for it. But the planning board has it in their hand to determine the direction in which developments should go in this township. I have a lot of experience, and I wouldn't make that mistake. If Friendship Village came before me as a member of the planning board, I would have a very different life in terms of the development itself. But as far as the affordable houses and country care, I will stand my ground.
Thank you, Mr. Cherry. Mr. Rogers.
I stand in awe. Ted, it seems as if you're dancing around that issue of Friendship Village. Sue, we don't need to go back and get an education. Both you and I and others are doing a good job. Let's talk about affordable housing for just one moment. He says he's in support of affordable housing. Where's the affordable housing at Friendship Village? Where's the affordable housing at Eastern Properties? What is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, to the affordable housing at Charleston Place as a result of our township committee, in which my opponent is on, not setting up safety nets so that when the grants and the monies that were going in for the repairs and all the needs of those people wouldn't run out? You know, that happened just a few weeks ago. There's no more money left for these people to maintain their property. A good leader, a leader with vision, would examine what would happen 10 or 15 years from now, and he would keep that housing affordable. Right now, a lot of that housing is not affordable, if you could find any of it. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move to our next questioner. Mr. Perkiss, please.
Mr. Rogers, when you started your campaign, you pledged not to accept contributions from developers, yet you took a $500 donation from Alexander Molnar, a longtime developer in the township. How do you explain your action? Isn't accepting the money breaking a campaign promise?
Mark, I learned something a long time ago. In fact, usually when a politician is asked a question he doesn't want to hear, he says, I'm glad you asked that question, so I'm not going to tell you I'm glad you asked it. Fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, I did state exactly what Mark just enumerated to you. I stated that I would not take any contributions from developers. I take full responsibility for accepting a contribution from a semi-retired 77-year-old man who did the unexpected. He publicly proclaimed his opposition to Metroplex, and he publicly proclaimed his support for camp and my position on uncontrolled growth. No one tried to hide anything. No one tried to dance around the issue. No exceptions were made in my position, and no exceptions will be made. The 2 points that I think we need to focus in on is how issues like this affect the quality of life in our community. Perhaps, Mark, what I'd like to see answered at one point in time is while my opponent was busy trying to distort the facts regarding this contribution, he failed to address the fact that the taxpayers are now saddled with a $1.4 million tax burden as a result of uncollected taxes from who? From developers and other people. Thank you.
Mr. Cherry, did you have a comment?
Mr. Rogers, he say things one way and he acts another. He sent me a letter trying to explain why he accepted the money from Mr. Molnar. What I did when that same developer sent me the $500, I sent it back and said no thanks, because I did not want to be influenced or be committed when his proposals come before this township. Mr. Rogers may not know that he's one of the largest developers we've got in South Brunswick. I mean, he is a land speculator. If you are not familiar with the developments, like the shopping center, South Brunswick Grandma Shopping Center, the Wynwood, you got Fair Acres, you got so many developments. And when I saw the ads, that vicious ads against your own party, I think it's one of the most biggest mistakes in the history of South Brunswick. We never had such dirt, such character, such sedation in the history of South Brunswick. And I think Mr. Rogers did a disservice to the voters of South Brunswick when he even accepted one dime from the developer. He should have returned it and said, let's wait